Off then. So hello everyone, Sadie Hobson here from We Work Well, bringing you the latest episode in our blog series about how everyone is coping right now with everything that we're facing and the different challenges that we're all experiencing at the moment. So today I'm delighted to be joined by Kate Hayward. So Kate, before we get started, if you could take a moment just to introduce yourselves to everyone, really, that'd be fantastic, please.
Hi, my name's Kate, Kate Hayward, as Sadie just said. I'm hairdresser from Chelmsford. That's my sort of day job as such. I do a bit of mentoring for youth as well in a local school, which is a volunteer thing that I do. I also do my youth club at church as well. I've got two kiddie winkies, not two kiddie winkies anymore, they're 15 and 12 and a lot taller than me. And that's about it really, that's me. Lots of different hats and yeah, juggling like most people.
Okay, fantastic. And the concept of juggling. So at the moment, juggling, I'm guessing various different hats and roles and responsibilities. So you've got teams, did you say?
I have, yes. Well, I've got Sophie and Ella. Sophie.
Yep. So you're homeschooling?
Well, when it comes to teen and homeschooling, I didn't do particularly well at school. Okay. So really, my children are quite a bit more intelligent than I am. So really, when it comes to homeschooling, no. I help them with the odd bit.
Yeah.
Certainly with a bit of RE because I'm a Christian and I go to church, so a bit of that I can do. But other than that, not really. They tend to do it themselves.
So you're learning together?
Yes, I am. Yeah. Some of the stuff they get, I think, oh my goodness, it is really tough. Really tough,
isn't it? Yeah, my nieces and nephews, you know, I see their homework and they're young and I'm like, really? Sure, I didn't do that. I don't remember covering that. But yeah, so what about you personally? We're sort of starting to come out of lockdown, entering this next phase. So rather than stay home, it's stay alert. What's your journey been like so far during the pandemic?
Well, for me, obviously, hairdressing I cannot work. So I was literally on shutdown from as soon as lockdown started. I'm also high risk. So I physically haven't been out the door since the 23rd of March, I think. Really? So I have literally just been in my house, in my garden, that's it. My family have been able to go out on social distance walking once a day in the first set of the lockdown. But after, they couldn't go to any shops or anything like that, just in case they weren't able to social distance and then bring something back to me. The NHS were very clear on that. They phoned me every week, if not twice a week. Excuse me. So for me, that's at first there were lots of tears because I couldn't go out for a walk with my family, which I found really hard. And then we just started to sort of try and get into action and just try and make the most of it, really. But yeah, so that was for me personally. With the girls, we've had lots of ups and downs. I mean, I think when we first went into lockdown, there's a lot of social media with regards to learn a guitar or yeah, let's do a language. And the whole thought of it, even for me and the girls and for my husband, was like, really? How the hell are we going to achieve that? We're just about getting through the day, trying to cope with the adjustments that we've been literally thrown at us. I mean, I knew I was high risk and I knew that there would be a letter coming through, but it's then when it comes through you think, I've actually really got to do as I'm told. And I found that really hard because I'm always doing a lot for other people. I'm always popping around people's houses, helping people out. It's part of my nature. And yeah, really struggled to sort of see what I could do from here. So I tried to sign up for Good Stand, that didn't work, unfortunately. I think they had too many volunteers, all just sort of bombarded. And also, I think what they were trying to get is more people to be able to go out and deliver. And of course, I couldn't get in the car, couldn't do any of that. So it was like, I went into a bit of a cleaning fest where I just literally cleaned everything. If I could have scrubbed the kids from top to bottom, I would have done. So they were just looking at me like, oh my goodness, she's on the kitchen floor again. Like, you know, really a bit worried about me, I think, at one point. So there was that as well. So
okay, so the cleaning became sort of almost a strategy to help you cope. But I mean, what did you develop? Did you find yourself developing any new coping strategies, or did you revisit or use more existing techniques? How have you sort of adjusted to this time personally? Because, you know, it's being restricted to not leaving the house unless someone else is in that position and are considered vulnerable and they can't leave. I think it's difficult for people to comprehend, you know, practically, but really psychologically, what that feels like. And particularly, as you say, if you're used to being out and about and helping people and doing your bit, and you know, we're seeing all these things about help the community, be there for other people, and you're thinking, I can't. There's nothing I can do, and I can imagine it must feel quite powerless. So, you know, have you introduced new techniques? How have you found yourself sort of coping with it?
Well, for me, a big thing is my Christianity. I do tap into my church online quite often, so that's quite a big area for me. I'd always promised myself I should spend more time digging out my Bible, which I don't tend to do. It's naughty, but so I managed to dig that out and start having a bit of a go at that. But I tried to sort of focus a bit more inward and think about what resources I had around me. I focused a lot on helping the children out, not so much with their schoolwork, but just we kind of have a bit of a muddled routine because it's a bit difficult with teens. Mm-hmm. Or certainly I found with my two, is that they do want to stay up a bit later. They don't always want to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning. That's what we would normally do when we'd go off to school. So me enforcing that in my household was incredibly difficult. So we sort of went, right, let's scrap that. Let's do what our routine suits us for now, mm-hmm. and just take it each day as it comes. So generally the girls are getting up a little bit later. Generally they are staying up a bit later with us. We're spending more time watching certain films that we want to watch together. We incorporate rather than, you know, one child being up in that room, one child being up in that room, which was quite noticeable when they were at school. They would go off and probably have FaceTime with their friends or be on their internet or do various different things. So there's been a lot more coming together. We got games out of the loft. I used these mentoring cards, which have just got these most random things on, like if you want to be a superhero, what would your superpower be? So after dinner, we'd get them out and start. So it would promote a bit of the chat of, mm-hmm. how are you doing? How are you feeling? And I know it's not a very structured or skills to use, but it was sort of digging on the resources that we had around our house that we could possibly use. And it was saying to the girls, you know, is there a book in your room that you want to read again? Or, you know, is there a film you want to watch? And having conversations about the Bible. And we were going through various different stories, which the girls often do at their youth club, but I hadn't done with them physically myself, mm-hmm. because I tend to do it at their youth club. So there was just, and very random, a little bit chaotic, do what felt right in that day. Didn't put any pressure on myself or them to, right, let's play Connect 4 today. That's that's the game we're playing today. Let them choose. I mean, one afternoon we'd scheduled a Zoom with some friends of ours and had to apologise profusely because we were on a game of Monopoly and literally we're like 45 minutes late because, well, I was winning, so I was like, that's out the window because I'm winning, and that never happens in my household. So it was fantastic and we were loving it. The kids were enjoying it. I have to say it's not my favourite game, but my youngest loves it, absolutely loves it, because it's so long-winded, isn't it? But she wanted to do it, so we did it. So yeah, there's pulling on those sorts of resources, which is just within our household that we tried to do, really.
That's brilliant. I love the emphasis that you made on the fact that, you know, these days, before this year certainly, you know, households were so detached, and, you know, even say at mealtime you'd see, you know, people eating like this on their phone, and even people in the same house would be quite isolated and very much sort of consumed by these devices and off in their own worlds and doing their own thing, really. And the fact that you've taken this opportunity to create almost a micro community and bring everyone together and rediscover things that we all used to enjoy many years ago, like board games, like card games, you know, like having a conversation and talking about how you're doing today, how you're feeling, you know. And that to me is something that I think a lot of families can take away from this moving forwards when we're talking about learning experiences. And, you know, what we've discovered during this time about ourselves, about our lifestyles. I think that's a really, really important one about this, the power of human connection, and, you know, not just with the people outside of our household, but how much we can rediscover how important it is to have that contact with each other, just to slow down a bit, you know, it's the amount of people who have said to me that it's just like, it's quite nice, not hurtling around, jumping in the car, jumping the train, like you said, getting up at 7, go, and just slowing down a bit, thinking about what matters, thinking about things about purpose, religion, you know, just going back to basics a little bit, if that makes sense. And
Definitely.
I think it's just, yeah, such a good opportunity to reflect on that. And I love as well that you're saying about your routine that's right for you guys, because also you touched on it earlier about how the fact of you can see on social media about people learning new instruments, learning new language, and all these different things, and having these set routines, and all our kids are up for the Joe Wicks workout, and all these different things. It has to be right for you. And in the last episode of this series, I was talking to personal trainers, and we were talking about mindset and motivation around exercise, and we were talking about routine and how our previous routine is gone for now, and we have to establish new ones, but ones that are right for us. And yeah, it might be a bit, it might fluctuate, it has to be a bit fluid, but it has to be right for us and the immediate people around us if it's going to be effective. We can't try and follow anything else, because there's so many different factors to think about. So I think, yeah,
I think on that note though is the fact that you're expecting your teenagers to fall in with what routine you have. This morning I was still in bed, my eldest daughter was downstairs on the running machine. Now that in our normal situation, or certainly what was before, wouldn't have happened. We'd all be downstairs having a bit of breakfast, getting ready for school, and it would be very much geared to the thermostat of me. This is my control, this is my routine. No, I wanted to lay in. I don't want to get on the running machine this morning. I didn't feel very motivated this morning, but my 15-year-old did. It's great, go ahead. Mum, can I get it out for the... Now, normally I'd probably be a bit like, oh, I've got to be downstairs with you. I've got to... But no, she's quite capable of getting it out. She's quite capable of doing a run. She knows where I am if she needs me. My husband's hovering around in the office. So it's allowing... I think personally, I'm not saying it's completely right, because you have to find what suits you, allowing for teenagers to time manage themselves. And I think that's been one of the key things I've just had to completely relax over. I remember how they were when they were little, had to do all those things, and now they're getting older. Their brains are still developing. Of course they need my guidance, but they also need to know that they can time manage themselves and they can do it effectively. So we're giving that leeway of saying to them, yes, you can stay up a little bit later. And I occasionally have to nudge my 12-year-old, you know, it gets to 9:30 and she hasn't actually logged on yet. So like that. But, you know, just stepping back from it and not standing over her while she's watching a bit of telly while she's eating her breakfast, going, come on, you've got to log on now. Letting her. And if she did get to 10 o'clock, is it a great disaster? Not really, because all she's doing is adding it on a little bit to the end of her day.
Yeah. But it is about having that more healthier sense of perspective, isn't it? Because I think it's really easy to get caught up in the must do this, should do this, must be here, must be there. And like you say, does it matter? Does it matter?
And I think that comes back to that comparison, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It comes back to you looking on Facebook and seeing what other people are doing, and, you know, a 5K run or and they're putting in their plastering. And that's, do you know what? That's great. I think brilliant. If that's what you can do. I'm not necessarily one for putting it on social media, although I have put some bits on there, but more from the point of view, if there's stuff I've put on there, it's more like, do you know what? If you've managed to get through the day,
you've got dressed, yes! Win!
And when I go on, sometimes I blow dried my hair and go, you blow dried your hair? And I'm like, I know, it's a miracle. I blow dried my hair today.
Well, it is a bit like that, isn't it, though? And I think having that little bit of that flex and letting go a little bit is, you know, even for people that I've spoken to who are now working from home, who perhaps used to work in the city, you know, have to get up, have to get this train, have to get the office this time, have to be at this meeting, to suddenly adjust and be like, actually, I can get up half an hour later and it doesn't matter. I'll just work a bit like later into the evening, you know, to have that flex and to do what feels right in your body rather than being stuck to this rigid, structured timeline, which, you know, as much routine is great, but, you know, at the end of the day, we've got to go with what feels right and what feels comfortable in that moment. And I think more than ever right now, it is a difficult time. And, you know, I don't know about you, but my emotions and my mood just goes like this constantly. So if I do need a bit more sleep, I'll have a bit more sleep. And, you know, if I do feel like going for a long run, I will. But if I don't, I won't. And we've all just got to adjust to this in our own way with what feels right. So do you think there'll be many lessons you take away from this, that like active changes you will make? You know, we don't know what normal looks like, obviously, but when we do come out the other side and we're back to kids going back to school, you know, you back hairdressing, will there be certain things that you'll think, no, I'm going to keep this, I'm going to keep doing things this way?
If I'm totally honest, I've got more dread about going back to normal.
Have you?
Yeah, because I don't want it to go back to how it was. I was a constant hamster on a wheel. I was juggling various different things, never getting anything done that I wanted to get done, like cleaning the floor. And I know I can't do that all the time, and that's absolutely fine. I took on far too much hairdressing. I worked a lot of evenings. I didn't have, didn't necessarily have meals with my kids. My husband's working from home, and that's it. That might be that he'll be like that for quite some time, and thoroughly enjoying it. I really thought I'd kill him, because I just thought, you know, generally when we've gone on holiday for 2 weeks, by the end of it, I'm like, oh, let's go home, which is awful, isn't it? But in actual fact, with my husband, and he said it as well, we really reconnected. I mean, not that we were ever disconnected, but we've really gone, hello, conversations have been happening, and what do we want to achieve from this? What do we want to, you know, and me definitely, and him and the girls all, well, I think my poor eldest, she didn't really like the conformity of school. So she's thoroughly enjoyed homeschooling. But I think the only proof will be for me when she goes back is how her grades will look. Mm-hmm. Personally, I think she's a very diligent child. That's naturally how she is. That's got nothing to do with me helping her or doing this or doing that. I do have very good friends of mine that are tutors that help her out, and she rings them and what have you. So we're very lucky on that. But I would like to see when she gets back to school how, if anything, has dropped, because I've always believed with my eldest that she would benefit from either homeschooling or part-time, because she struggles with that whole in school, and not so much, you know, she's got some friends and stuff like that. She just gets embarrassed about stuff, and that she doesn't find that she's always connecting with the teachers. And I mean, that's just one student. I'm not saying that they're all like that. My youngest loves school. She's great. She loves all her friends. She loves the different lessons. She's probably missed it more. So, but I think I would be interested to see how my eldest grades are looking, to know whether she personally would benefit for part and part. I mean, they're talking about her going back only part-time anyway, so we'll see how we go. Yeah. I think definitely she needs that interaction with teachers, because they've got to learn, haven't they? But I definitely think, yeah, it'd be good to see what that's all about. Ella's slightly younger, she's year 8, so she's in that floating year where they're just keeping them ticking over. Sophie's year 10, important year for her. And I'm apprehensive, because she was doing really, really well. So I'd like to think that was kept going, because she's been just working really, really well with it. So, but who knows? But for us as a family, my husband has just thoroughly enjoyed us all sitting down and having a meal, because we get the rummy cub out afterwards. I say we get the mentoring cards out. Even he has come up. He's not really, he's like, oh, I don't need to do all that. I can strike up a conversation with my kids. But he loves them. He loves them. I get him out and he's like, oh yeah, that's a great question. So we've invented games. We did one, didn't work so well, but it was quite funny trying to do it, where we all had headphones on and we had to try and work out what the other person was saying, and we had to put an accent on it and things like that. It was just hilarious. It probably failed a bit miserably. I don't think it's going to be on Amazon anytime soon, but it was a bit of fun. And I think, yeah, there is a slight bit of dread that I'm going to lose that.
Yeah.
I want it to stay. I want those meals to stay.
Yeah.
I don't want to be working the evenings I'm working. I don't want my husband coming through the door at 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, if
Mhm.
I'm honest.
Yeah, but I think those lessons are things that, unless you actually experience an alternative reality, you know, as much as in your head you think, oh, I really must slow down, I really wish I could see more of the family, and you'll create these like ideal worlds of, oh, I wish I didn't always feel like the hamster on the wheel, whatever it may be. But until you actually experience it, you think, no, this is what I want, this is what I need my life to look like. And I think certainly for me, you know, certain things I've taken away. I used to hurtle around the country delivering training like here, there and everywhere, and you know, be passing ships with my husband, and you know, if I got to walk the dogs, that would be like the highlight of my day, you know. And yeah, I just think this more slow pace and connecting more with people. And you know, my family is sort of dotted around Essex in different areas. You know, they're busy. You know, brother's got kids. My mum lives up in Bishop Stortford on a canal boat, and to get us all together was quite a rarity, because trying to schedule everyone in is quite difficult. But now, without fail, for about 8 weeks now, I think every single Friday evening we have a Zoom family quiz, like a lot of people have been doing, and we each couple during the week they write their own questions. We take it in turns to ask questions to everyone else, and all week we're like, oh, what round shall we do, and do like TV theme tunes, or like whose eyes are these and stuff. And so it actually spreads out throughout the whole week, and we're like sending teasers saying, oh, we've got some good questions for you this week. And I know it's virtually, but to get together and connect for a good few hours every Friday night with all my family, my husband's family, it's wonderful. I really, really love it. And
yeah,
I just think that you'd go months without all getting together. And I just think things that I personally just kind of took for granted, that you just think, and even my friends, I'll go months without seeing my friends. I genuinely will, because you know, they've got kids, I've got 2 companies, you know, we've all got, I think we're juggling.
It's a bit messy, doesn't it?
Exactly. And you think we're just so busy. Oh my God, it's been months since I've seen one of my closest friends. And now all I want to do is see them. I just want to hug them and embrace them and sit down, you know, have a glass of wine with them and just enjoy their company. And again, it's like I took that for granted, that it was there, and you just think, oh, well, life's just too busy. But now it's like, no, it's about just redefining what's important, I guess, and what my actual priorities are. And that's up to me to make those changes. It's not something anyone else can do. And that's what I'm trying to sort of focus on, I think. I
know it sounds a little bit weird, but I think certainly for my girls, it's taken slightly more effort to do the Zooms and stuff like that, because their brains are obviously still developing being as teens, but their communication skills are a bit of a struggle. And how they read you and how they read other people, it is a bit difficult. It is something that they've got to learn. So my 2 in the first couple of weeks just completely avoided it. Didn't want to go anywhere near the Zooms and stuff like that. Didn't want to connect with their friends, because they were struggling with the fact that they couldn't see them in front of them and read their mannerisms as well, because obviously you're on a call as such. And the amount of times this has been hilarious with various different friends, I've gone, have you frozen? Because they're sitting there diligently listening to me, and they're not as animated as me. They don't do all this. So I'm like, have you frozen?
Why are you moving?
So we've had that a lot, but slowly but surely we've nurtured them through it and we've encouraged them. And this weekend we do the games and stuff like that. Sophie, my eldest, was in charge, wanted to do it. We weren't even allowed to look in, which is hard for me, because I'm like, oh, come on. I like doing a bit of games. And she did Generation Game. Do you remember
amazing.
That? Yeah. I'm showing the age now. And so across the screen, she was like, and here's a pencil.
Oh, amazing.
And here's a cup like this. And we were in absolute fits. They were upstairs doing it. Her sister was helping her. And then we did it with another family, and they did their 10 items. So the kids did it between them. It was incredible.
That's brilliant.
But we were in fits.
I might steal that idea for Friday night.
do. And then the other game they went through the alphabet, picked a load of things that we had to find around the house. Oh my goodness, I was worn out. I was up and down the stairs, and my husband was out in the garden, and it was just brilliant. So there's 2 games there that they'd come up with, and they were just brilliant. So
Well, you can pass on my thanks because I'm going to steal both of those now for Friday night.
They were so good.
That's my round sorted.
Yeah,
That's good.
I think also from the quiz point of view, don't get me wrong, it's wonderful to do, but if you do have a situation with teens, this is just in my household, and I wouldn't tell people how to do it. But if it is a bit educational, my mum loves education and she's fantastic at it. If the kids don't know the answers, they soon switch off. Whereas if it's something a bit more fun like that, we've done it with our youth groups and stuff like that, and a bit more of the drawing games and things like that, they get into it a lot quicker because it's instant, it's fun, and there's not really too much taxing on the old knowing the answer of that, if you know what I mean. So from their point of view,
yeah, that makes sense. I can see why they quickly.
Yeah, that would definitely be my top tip. Go silly every time, especially with kids.
Just have fun with it
and let them do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't matter if it doesn't turn out completely right. Doesn't matter if you don't end up knowing who the winner is because you're laughing too much. Yeah, it's fun.
And that's what it's all about at the end of the day. Is just having a laugh, isn't it? So that's the other thing I just wanted to touch on with you is your role as a mentor and the support work that you do with teens and things. And you know, if somebody's watching who's got a teen, several teens, you know, and they are a bit worried about them, if they're, you know, not getting on well with the isolation, being away from their friends, if they're struggling, is there any sort of specific advice that you'd give them from your experiences and the different hats that you wear, or do you think it's basically very much about that individual and that teen and what they're going through, that it's too specific to give generic advice?
I think there is part of that, because there is specifics in that household that may not work. I mean, you know, if you've got people in flats with teenagers and they can't go out in the garden, then to suggest go out in the garden is not going to it's not going to work, is it? My company that I work for, Made for More, they often put stuff on posts on Instagram and Facebook. I definitely get them to tap into that. If it's obviously a bit more of a safeguarding issue and stuff like that, the schools do have safeguarding officers generally that they can refer to, and they will, you know, tap them into various different things if they need it. You know, the Mind charity, the Sane charity, there's a lot out there. I would just encourage as much as possible, and it is difficult with teens because I've had a couple of people where I've done video things about my mentoring cards and stuff, and I'm like, I can't even get my team to come downstairs. Keep persevering, but also giving them that space to sort of come to you when they want to as well. I think we have in our household, but it doesn't always work. But there are resources out there. Get connected. I mean, we have got our website that my sister deals with, which is Heads to Minds, but it is probably more mature focused, but the kids might still like to read the stories because they can, because my sister has gone in, I've gone in with her and done group sessions where he's spoken to her, say year 11, and they find her very inspiring. So any of her videos and stuff like that are always really good to watch because she's funny. She doesn't always get it right. She's not rehearsed. She just comes out with it. Pretty much a bit like me, really. So from that point of view, I'd sort of point them, there are a lot of resources, and tap them up and use them as much as possible. So just so that the teens know, it's not just necessarily if they're not wanting to connect with their friends, they might just want to read stuff online, but the right stuff online. So yeah, definitely direct them towards Made for More.
Okay. Yeah, and I think it's the point you mentioned about making sure that, one, they might not feel ready to talk straight away, but creating that psychologically safe space that when they do feel ready, that they know that they're going to be listened to, that there's going to be no judgment, and making sure that there are resources available so they're not Googling and going here, there and everywhere and reading things that potentially be detrimental. You know, there's a lot of things being shared, particularly on social media, and people share things without even properly reading what they're sharing. You know, there'll be a link with a great headline, they'll like share the actual content of it could be really inaccurate. And I think when we're at times of anxiety or stress, it's human nature we want to seek answers. We want to try and understand what's going on and what's going through in our mind. So, you know, it's going to be a common tendency for people to scroll through social media, to read other posts, to go on Google, to try and get your head around what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what's happening in the world. But unfortunately, the information isn't always that accurate, always that helpful. No. Exactly. And it creates more fear sometimes and more anxiety. And and spikes everything that you're already feeling. So it just exasperates it rather than providing reassurance. So I think, yeah, your emphasis on making sure that the sources are accurate and that they're correct and they're going to have the correct resources. So
definitely,
yeah,
and definitely for teens.
Yeah. So I suppose as well, you've got to take into consideration that when we say teens, that's, you know, going from 13, which is still relatively quite young, to going up to, you know, late teens, where it's someone who's an adult. You know, it's extremely different perspectives and, you know, ways of approaching situations and needs. So it's about, again, making sure that whatever they're accessing is specific for them.
Yeah,
so,
and I'd probably stretch that a little bit, although I say teens, I'd probably stretch that to 10 to 20 as well, because there's still that growing period, even when you're in your 20s. And one thing, I just make a quick point, sorry to interrupt you, but what I was very mindful of the other day, and which I've got a little bit of a rude awakening over actually, one of my eldest came out with that she'd Googled, and I couldn't believe, I won't mention the statement she made, but I couldn't believe she believed it. I thought, wow, you know, even for me, that was sort of like, I think I'm quite good at going, well, come to us and have a chat, open forum, and being mentor of youth in school. Not, I think I know it all, not at all, but I thought they had a healthy understanding that you don't believe everything you read on Google.
Yeah.
And she came out here and she was like, I was like, you don't believe that, do you? And she was like, it was on Google, Mum. And I was like, oh. So me and my husband had a bit of a meltdown at the table. We're like, what else have you read that you believe? So yeah, always go to trusted places that you know, like young minds, things like that, because they're going to have the right information. So yeah, definitely.
And the right support. But because that's the thing, as much as you can think, you know, and I think so with my friends, that they know what I do professionally and they know me personally and that I'm there for them. But I think at the moment it's very, very easy to start thinking that you're alone, and that, you know, and for barriers to be created to speaking up and asking for help. And that's why I think it's so important, and why I loved what you said about constantly connecting as a family, and, you know, constantly getting together, and, you know, I'm constantly regularly speaking to my friends, you know, how you doing, what's up, and a couple of us, we do like a rating, a 1 out of 10, just saying, oh, I'm a bit of a 6 today, and no, I'm an 8 today, and I'm a 2 today, and, you know, just so we can get an idea, and we're regularly talking about how things are going, and practically, emotionally, what we might be struggling with, what might be going well. So to have that same approach, you know, to regularly be talking to not just teens but kids of any age, you know, children, to actually keep that conversation going, so you're more likely to pick up on if they don't seem right, if they don't seem themselves. But, you know, it's a bit difficult, as you say, the example you gave about they're not even coming out their bedroom. I understand that's a bit more of an obstacle to overcome, but it's that reassurance that you are there when they are ready, and making sure they know where to go, who to talk to.
I've slipped notes under the door.
Yeah.
Can I come in? Yeah. It's
got some chocolate. Excellent. Okay, well, I think I'll bring it to a close there, but it's been fantastic to talk to you. I think a lot of people will find it of real value. Just get some ideas and insight into some of the things they might be going through, you know, with their kids or with themselves, and just sort of starting to think about some things they might want to change moving forwards, because I think we're in a great position right now to start thinking of the future and what we want it to look like, really, and the changes we want to make from last year to moving into next year. So yeah, I think that's a really, really good point. So thank you very much, Kate. And
you're welcome. Thank you.
All right, see you later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.